Yo, once again, it's on. Back at you one more again, Real Kens TV and the House Like Kitchen Sinks. Now, before I get into this afternoon's story, if you will, y'all jump in the comment section. Let me know where you're chiming in from. I'm in Lexington, Kentucky. Let me know your city, your state, your hood, your set, whatever it may be that you're representing. And let us know if you're the man or the woman that you say you be. You know, oftentimes people talk about, not too many people, but from time to time I get emails from correctional officers, former correctional officers, prosecutors. Well, one prosecutor. Kens, you seem as though you're bitter towards the system. You seem as though, because of what you've endured in your life, that you have a problem with our authoritative figures, police officers, things of that nature. And my thing is this. People only hear what they want to hear. I think that that's something that's almost a fact. It's factual. People hear what they want to hear. I will clearly say, I'm not speaking about all police officers. I'm not speaking about all correctional officers. I'm not speaking about all prison staffers. It's just the overbearing individuals that I have a problem with, that try to make your time harder. Not to say that you're supposed to come to work and feel sorry for anyone, but just understand that you're there to do a job, not to make anybody's time harder. Do your 8 hours, 12 hours, 16 hours, however many hours you're doing on that particular shift. Make your money and go home. Because at the end of the day, the police officers, or the correctional officers rather, they only go home because the inmates allow them to do so. When you get up into your higher level security, prisons, mediums, your max, man, you can take a correctional officer out at any given time. I don't recommend to ever in life do that. But I'm just simply saying that some of these people, they get really, really beside themselves, man. Because they got that blue uniform on and that badge and that radio, the panic button. And they got a pen and a pad. The most lethal weapon within the Department of Corrections. Because if they write you up, guess what? That could potentially and most likely stop you from going home sooner opposed to later. If that makes any sense. I don't even know if it makes sense. But the point that I'm making is, if you get a write-up and you go for parole and they're going to say, well, you have a write-up, the write-up could just be bogus as all outdoors. But because the correctional officer wrote it up, guess who they're going to believe? The correctional officer. Stop making people's time harder than what it has to be. And it's not just the officers. It's the staff. I got a situation in which we have a warden, Warden Briggs. He's been at the prison 20 plus years, man. His word is good. His name is stamped. Whatever he says, pretty much is what it is. He ran a tight ship at his prison, as most wardens do. Now, this is a medium security prison. You got lifers there. You got dudes that are not going home for 30 and 40 years. And so I understand that his job has to be somewhat stressful at times. I totally get it. Well, you had an individual that was coming home from the club one night, Terrence, a.k.a. Terry. Had a little bit too much to drink, actually way too much to drink. Got pulled over for reckless driving by the police. This occurred in Texas, actually Houston, Texas, 7-8 years ago. Shout out to Houston, Texas, man. Houston, we got a problem. He gets pulled over. Police is trying to do whatever they do when they pull you over. They think that, he's drunk or whatever. He gets real aggressive with the police. Loud, belligerent. Gets to the point to where he puts hands on the police officers. That's a no-no. That's an automatic no-no. I know definitely in the state of Kentucky, although this happened in Texas, I would assume that it's that way everywhere you go. gets arrested for drunk driving. That was the least of his worries. Public intoxication. The main charges was assault. Put his hands on the police officers. Gets locked up. 7-8 months later, gets sent to the penitentiary in East Texas. Medium security penitentiary in East Texas, under the care of Warden Briggs. Like I said, Warden had been there for about 20 plus years. He was 60 years old. Black man. That's actually him in the thumbnail. Ran a tight ship. Had a whole lot of complaints from inmates. But there's always a whole lot of complaints from inmates in any prison that you'll ever see or go to. Hopefully you'll never have to do so. You see, there's a chain of command. There's a process. So when you have a problem with an officer, you have to file what's called a grievance. I'm sure you're all familiar with grievances. Thing about prison grievances, though, guess where they end up at? In the trash can. And they'll tell you. Officers will straight up tell you, make sure you spell my name right. So when you filling out the grievance or whatever, you write an officer's name down or whatever, it's never going to go anywhere but the trash can, man. Officers take up for each other just like the police. It's just what they do. They can see that blatantly this officer is doing wrong, but guess what? They're going to ride for each other. I always reference this quote, Paul Harvey. For y'all that are not old enough to recognize who Paul Harvey was, just Google Paul Harvey. Famously said, you want to see the real true scum of the earth, go to a prison yard break room at break time, at lunchtime. And that's, you're going to see the real scum of the earth. We're talking about the staff, the officers. That's where you're going to see real scum of the earth, man. A lot of them really deserve to be in there, but they just didn't get caught. And so you have Terrence, but Terrence didn't go by Terrence. That was just his government name. Terrence went by Terry. Terrence was a transgender, as you can see in the thumbnail. Terrence was a transgender that a lot of people thought was actually a woman. You know, was taking the hormone pills and legally conducted himself as a woman. They get sent to an all-men's prison. I'm not sure exactly how that whole thing works, but nevertheless, he ended up in a medium security men's prison. So he's at this prison, and there's repeated complaints and grievances filed by Terry. Unfair treatment, gender favoritism, and it's just all type of, charges that are filed, or complaints rather, that are filed. Catches the eye of the warden. The warden had already had so many complaints from inmates, and they were writing the Department of Corrections, and he didn't really want this sort of additional problem, if you will, on top of the problems that he's already had. So he calls Terry into his office. What can we do to make this better? What can we do to make this go away? The warden gives Terry a job in the administration building. Thing about being in the admin building, this particular prison, you didn't get your regular state pay that everybody else gets. In Kentucky, you get $25 to $28 a month for state pay once a month. You go out and you work 7-8 hours every day, and you're paid $25 to $28 a month. Well, if you have a special job, such as working in an administrative building, or doing special projects around the yard, like painting, or if they were getting ready for an inspection and you're going through, or you're driving a backhoe, or if you're lower level, you can leave the compound and Whatever the case may be, they make like $150 a month. Warden gives Terry that job, okay? You got a job in the administrative building. Just chill out on the complaints, on the grievances. You'll have access to me just as well. Warden's office is in the admin building. Typically, inmates can't go into the admin building. There's a few, but it's very, very few. Now, if you get legal mail, meaning from your lawyer or something like that, you go to your admin building, get your mail, they open it up. Well, you open it up right in front of them. But otherwise, you're not going to see too many inmates in the admin building. A few months, everything's going cool or whatever. The warden realizes Terry knows how to cut hair. He gives Terry a shot. He cuts Warden Briggs' hair. Warden Briggs is fairly satisfied, like, wow, I didn't know you could do so. Created another position. Created another position for Terry. You cut the staff's hair. Staff pays you, the money goes onto your account. Now, they're not paying $15, $20 a haircut, $30 a haircut, but it's basically one of those things, whatever the staff wants to pay. You don't want to pay anything, you don't have to pay anything. Terry was so cold with the Clippers, might pay you $10, $15, $20 or whatever. It goes into his account. Everything was cool. No more complaints, no more problems. Terry was getting special treatment, special commissary, special. Other inmates start to recognize. They're going to complain. But what can you do? Who you going to tell? This is done by the warden, okayed by the warden. So who are you really going to tell? Terry and Warden Briggs' relationship became, I guess, somewhat tighter and tighter. The two of them were having more and more conversation. And you're right there in the administrative building. So after 5 o'clock, pretty much everybody's gone. For the most part, everybody's gone. So when you go to admin, it's not going to be a lot of staff in there. You're going to have staff that walks you to the building, let you in. But once you're in the building, you might be there for 4 hours and you know your job duties. You don't need staff to overlook. Like I mentioned, everybody's pretty much gone at that point. So it was a whole lot of one-on-one time between Warden Briggs and Terry. Only people that would come to the admin building, it was like, okay, if an officer wanted to get a haircut at 7 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock p.m., whatever the case may be, you come get your haircut or whatever. But other than that, they gone. Two of them started to form I'm not necessarily going to say a relationship, but I guess in a sense it's a form of a relationship because they became sexually involved with each other. It's lasted several months, 6, 7 months. It got to the point to where feelings started to develop. You got to understand, Warden Briggs been there over 20 years, 60 years old, has grown kids, older than Terry. Terry was 25 at the time, turning 26. Warden has kids older than Terry. And he's risking all of this to be involved with an inmate, transgender inmate. Inmate, period. I'm not going to just solely say transgender. I'm going to say just an inmate, period. He's involved. They're having, relations or whatever. His feelings become, entangled. His feelings become entangled to the point to where he doesn't want Terry talking and dealing with other inmates in their capacity. See, in prison they have a saying in Kentucky. No means no. And yes is not allowed. So I don't care if you feeling this inmate. I don't care if you're interested in this inmate. Don't let me find out, because that inmate will be gone. These are the subtle threats that Warden Briggs was consistently bringing Terry. Got to the point to where almost 7 days a week, 7 nights a week, Terry's in the administrative building, cleaning, changing the trash cans out, dusting, just cleaning up the offices or whatever, and giving haircuts out to the officers. Most of the time in prison, man, what ends up happening is inmates they can't keep their mouths shut. You got a nice little thing going with a nurse or somebody in the admin building or one of the caseworkers or, prison staff, somebody working in the child hall. They always tell it. Inmates are always watching anyway. You got some hating ass inmates. They're going to be watching anyway. But when you tell somebody, they're going to tell somebody. And then they're going to tell somebody. And then next thing you know, you're in the hole and the officer's getting walked off the yard. Escorted off the yard by prison staff. Basically, they're being fired. Inmates don't know how to keep their mouths shut. See, there's a difference between inmates and convicts, man. It's a big difference. An inmate is just anybody can be an inmate. You get locked up, get caught doing something, and they send your ass to prison. Guess what? You're an inmate. But a convict, man, is somebody that's done time. Is gonna see no evil, hear no evil, mind his business, and just don't get involved in a whole bunch of foolery or whatever, and just do your time and try to get home, man. Big difference between the two. Sorry, y'all. The wind keeps blowing, so it's knocking my little note sheet over or whatever. Yeah, I'm gonna always keep it real. And so you have Terry that becomes a little perturbed, a little frustrated. Evidently, in Texas, I guess the warden can put in for your good time if you're doing or going above and beyond or whatever. Never been locked up in Texas, but I'm just simply saying, based upon the story that was sent to me, the way that I understand it, the warden can put in for like extra good time for you that obviously helps you to go home sooner. Well, this warden seems to really be, I'm not going to necessarily say in love, but it could be. The warden's interest towards Terry seems to be astronomical, so guess what? I'm not about to put in good time for you so you can go home early. Once you go home, then it's a wrap. Me and you, I'm not going to hear from you again. The warden's telling Terry that he's putting in, the good time for him. But you get time sheets in prison, man. And when you get time sheets, you're able to look at it and you're like, whoa, what's all my good time that the warden been saying that he's been putting in? Brings it to the warden's attention. I'll take care of it. It must have just been a clerical error or whatever. A few more months passes. There's still no traces of the good time that Terry was supposed to be getting. Because essentially, Terry is working in an administration building. So I should be getting credit for that job and being a barber. Again, the Warden Briggs, man, he wasn't putting it in. Nasty, rotten. That's where the friction came in. The controversy. Two of them began to have arguments. Like some real life couples. Imagine this. You got a warden, you got an inmate that's wearing khaki uniforms or whatever they wear in Texas. Kentucky, you wear khaki uniforms. And a transgender that really considers himself as a woman arguing with the warden is over the whole prison. These two have a sexual relationship going on for several months. Terry gets to the point to where he's like, you know what? Don't worry about it. I'm going to expose this whole situation. I want this, and this list of demands. If not, this whole situation is going to be exposed. Well, the warden's cocky. He's thinking, yeah, whatever. Terry had a cell phone. The two of them have been communicating back and forth. But the warden has a burner phone. So with this burner phone, he never would text Terry or communicate with Terry from his actual phone. He has a throwaway, a burner phone. He's thinking he's slick. Who they gonna believe? My word or an inmate's word? But the problem is, you've laid down with this inmate. You all have had these sort of relations, so there's DNA, there's proof, definitely, that Terry has on you. Once the warden realizes this, he recruits two officers, two of the officers that he brought in. I'm not sure what the financial gain was going to be, but he offers them a certain amount of money and the promise of a promotion, a nice promotion, if they handle this problem, handle this business. This business is Terry. These two idiots agree to it. They devise a plan. This is what makes it premeditated. They devise a plan. One evening, at this point, Terry had been at the prison about a year. They come and get Terry out of the dorm. You want it in the administration building. Terry didn't think anything of it. Went to the administration building. Two officers left. Or they acted as though they were leaving. Terry goes up there. He's doing his assignment or whatever they told him to do. There's another inmate that's in the admin building. Caught him Bubble. Looked like the dude from Forrest Gump. No, but I've been on a rail back bout. Yeah, that Bubble. Black dude got the big lips or whatever. He reminds you of Bubble, so that's what they called him. In prison, they always going to give you a nickname. They're never going to call you by your real name in most cases. Whatever the case may be, they knew that Bubble was in the administration building along with one other inmate. As I mentioned, they acted as though that they left, but they really didn't leave the administration building. Terry was downstairs, like in the basement, getting the cleaning supplies, because they got like a mop closet and things of that nature. Was getting the cleaning supplies, and he was immediately attacked by these two officers hired by the warden. Beat Terry to death, man. Beat him to death. They got these long flashlights that allegedly, it was proven rather, that the warden had supplied. See, in prison, they walk around, they got these long flashlights, and they got these big old things of pepper spray. Look like a fire extinguisher, man. Beat Terry to death. After they beat Terry to death, they just left Terry, and they made it seem as though the only person that could have done it was Bubble. Took a mop wringer, the yellow mop wringers or whatever, or the yellow mop buckets and the mop wringers on it. They placed it down there, and so it would look as though, in their eyes, it would make it seem as though Bubble was the one that offed Terry. Again, Paul Harvey said, you want to see the real scum of the earth? Go to a prison break room during lunchtime. Here it is. You got an inmate that's trying to do all that he can do. He's on his best behavior. That's how he's working in the admin building. And y'all gonna plot a murder on him, man? I guess the goal was to not really murk Terry, but to just send a message. But you get hit with, a couple of them flashlights, or the flashlight a couple times and a baton. Guess what? Your chances of surviving is not very high. They come and do the investigation. It's put off on Bubble. Bubble's in the hole. Bubble's like, man, I ain't do nothing to nobody. I ain't touching nobody. I ain't try to plant the little evidence, a little gloves or whatever. Luckily, the investigators wasn't buying it. See, technology is a beast, man. Technology is a beast. This person wasn't beaten with a mop wringer. No, this is more consistent with a flashlight or baton or something of that force, a police equipment. They knew that. They knew that. They get to digging into the books, looking at the surveillance even deeper than what they had previously looked into. See these two officers that went and escorted Terry to the administration building. So now these are the two suspects that they're really, really looking at. Once the reports came back from the, what is it called when you get, y'all jump in the comment section, let me know. What is it called when they do the autopsy? The autopsy report. It confirmed it definitely wasn't the mop wringer, although it was blood and things. No, it had been planted. Only two individuals that could have done this. And I'm going to tell you how cold forensics is. Forensics knew that based upon where Terry was struck at in the head several times with these weapons, they knew that it was two individuals opposed to just one person that did it. They also had a silhouette on the camera. The camera couldn't see them, but they had like a silhouette, and it showed one smaller person, which was Terry, the silhouette, and two larger individuals, which was officers. Couldn't have been Bubba. Couldn't have been the other inmate. He was way somewhere on the other side of the building. Once they determined that, two of them were brought in for questioning. One didn't say nothing. Man, give me a lawyer. Same thing I always say, lawyer. Even though he was dead wrong, he still has a right to want to speak to an attorney first. The other one, he talked a little bit. He got to the point to where he shut down. He didn't have anything else to say. But he had already incriminated himself. Two of them get locked up. Well, the one that originally didn't say much, he gets to talking. He tells the people that the Warden Briggs, was the one that instructed them to do so. It was never a goal to unalive Terry, just to shake him up, rough him up a little bit. Things went a little bit too far, and this is what happened. But we only did it at the instruction of the warden. The warden threatened to fire us if we didn't do it. But if we did it, we would get extra money. We would get promotions. Well, why would the warden want this individual unalive? You see, the warden didn't tell the two officers of their sexual relationship. I'm not sure exactly what he told them, but I guess anybody can put two and two together. They get to investigating the warden. They see that it's many nights that he can leave at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. He's there till 8, 9 o'clock at night. When you come to prison yard, prison gate, you got to show your badge and the door pops. So there's no way of really, you can change the books, the login books, but once you go to that surveillance and cameras, it shows all of these nights. 3, 4, 5 nights a week. He's there way later than what he could be, what he should be. Now, the warden blamed it on progress review meetings in his office with Terry. Being that Terry was transgender on the yard, had to have these weekly meetings to see if he was being, treated fairly. But 3, 4, 5 times a week. And you got one officer saying that you hired them and put them up to doing this. They checked the phone logs. This stupid warden had been texting. I'll tell you how dumb this fool is. He had been texting Terry from his state-issued cell phone. I guess he thought because he went in and erased the messages, you understand that anything that you put on your phone, your search engine, your whatever you put on your phone is there forever. It's only erased to you. Then people can go back in and retrieve anything that you've ever looked up, typed in on your phone. That's exactly what they did. They seen some messages. It was obvious that the messages were sent to, to an inmate. Problem is, Terry wasn't around to speak his piece, to speak his mind, to speak his truth. It was so ironic when they came and arrested Warden Briggs. He was at work. Walked him off the yard. Hands behind his back. You imagine all the inmates that was laughing and clowning and clapping and cheering. Get him off the yard, bitch. Oh, they talking dog crazy to him. You've been relieved of your position. He's locked up. Conspiracy to commit murder. The other two officers, second-degree murder. One officer goes to trial that didn't say anything. I'm going to tell you the crazy part about it. One officer didn't say anything. One officer did say something. And guess what? They both got 35 years, in which they have to do 20 years before they're eligible for parole. This occurred in 2019. It's 2025 now. They got 14 years before they're eligible for parole. Hope I said that right. 35 years, and they got to do 20 years before they're eligible for parole. In the meanwhile, cocky Warden Briggs goes to trial, fully confident that he'll be exonerated. Give his black ass life without parole. Get life without parole in any state, you go into a maximum security prison, or close to max. They might send you to high medium. State of Texas, they got some real gorillas, man. Lions, tigers, bears, goons, hyenas, belly of the beast. Former warden, people that probably came through your prison. You got life without. You definitely gonna be PC'd up. You can't go to no prison yard. And the thing about PC don't always protect you, because anybody can check into PC. Say I'm a shot caller on the yard. Say I'm a shot caller. I wasn't, but I'm just simply saying, let's just say I was a shot caller. Hey, man, I was locked up, man. I was locked up with this dude. Well, at this dude's prison, rather. And he's a real he's a dirt bag. I need two of y'all to check in. Go handle that while he's in PC. Basically, all you got to do is go to the staff. Hey, I don't feel safe on the yard. They take you to PC. Once you go to PC, you're going to have access to this warden. He gets out for rec. See, PC, man, you lock down 23 hours a day. You get out for an hour a day. There's a difference between PC and being in a hole, because you can get your own TV, your own radio, your own, whatever the prison allows you to have. Opposed to if you're just in the hole, you lose all of those privileges. But you still locked down 23 hours a day. Can't be around other people. Some people prefer it, I don't know. But whatever the case may be, I would assume that Warden Briggs, if he's even still alive, might look him up. Y'all interested in knowing about this story, you can look up Warden Briggs. I think his first name was Leonard. Leonard Briggs out of Houston, Texas. Case took place in 2018. I would go out on a limb to say, unless he beat that in appeals court, which I doubt it, he's locked away in protective custody, man. That's the thing that gets me about all these staff members. They act so tough, man. They act like they this and they that. And as soon as it's time to be tough, You hit that signal 7, man. Signal 7 means stop what you're doing, get here. Not now, but right now. Whatever dorm you're in. You're in dorm, A. Signal 7 in Unit A. Signal 7 in Unit A. It's always the frantic voice. You was tough at first. You was hard, yeah, man. You want to write up? Well, say another word. Matter of fact, I might write you up. You go from, having that sort of tough guy demeanor to the frantic voice. Hitting your radio, your panic button. With the little red button on it, it's called the panic button. Signal 7 in Dorm A. Signal 7 in Dorm A. But you was just tough. So Warden Briggs, you was doing all that tough talking when you was the warden of the prison. You walking around, you got 2-3 officers with you. Y'all got, like I said, your big flashlights. You got your cuffs on you. You got your pepper spray that looks like, fire extinguishers. You got all these weapons, your shields, your tasers. You got your officers at the guards tower. They got rifles, ARs, Dracos. Officers got Dracos. Switches on them. Dare you to do something. So you can walk around being tough. Ain't no sense of changing nothing up now. Be tough now. You in a maximum security prison in Texas. For some murder. You was into some gangster shit when you didn't have to be. Be tough now. Ain't no sense of going to PC. Warden Briggs. Some of you CEOs that act like you so tough, and ain't no sense of when you get caught up, now you want to be protected. No, keep that same energy. See, those are the people that I address my videos to, man. Not every CEO, not every police officer, not every prison staffer. It's people that's in position of power that abuse their power and authority. And it's the last time I'm going to explain this. I said what I said and I can't take it back. Good, he got life. Y'all jump in the comment section if you agree with me. Good, he got life. Y'all put that in the comment section for me. Helps the algorithm. Y'all was so tough, man. What about Terry that lost his life at 25 years old, or 26 years old at the time? What about him? You orchestrated this whole thing. This was you lucky you didn't get the death penalty. That's a hate crime. It's a hate crime. It was planned. You're very, very lucky. You violated the civil rights, you know what I mean? Movement or whatever. Yeah, the prison got sued. Terry's family probably got some money out of it. $1 million or $2 million, whatever, $5 million, whatever. But that don't bring an individual back. By the time the lawyers get their cut and things that get taken out or whatever, like, what about this? A human being? I don't care what a person's sexual preference is. People can do what they want to do. How does that hurt me? How does that affect me? Oftentimes in prison, man, what they'll do is, man, they'll beat you to death, man. I done seen it and I've heard it. And you got cuffs on you. Cuffs are behind your back, like your hands are behind your back, cuffed. And they put them on tight. And you got 3 or 4 officers just beating you, beating your body up, beating your face up, spraying you in the face with mace, shocking you. They got these little shields and they'll shock you. Or they got the tasers, whatever the case may be. And they'll throw you in the hole. They'll throw you in the hole and you'll just sit there for 6 weeks, 2 months until you heal up. Can't make a phone call, can't write a letter. Any letters, mail that's coming in, you can't get it. If you do have family on the outside that's calling the prison, he's in solitary confinement. If they even tell you that. They come to visit you, you can't get visits, he's in the hole. And you definitely haven't done anything to deserve that. Probably done said something, pissed the wrong person off or whatever. Whatever the case may be, they'll throw you in the hole until you heal up. By the time you heal up, who you gonna prove it to? You come out now, do we have a problem, boy? We gonna behave, boy? You so happy to get out of the hole. You're not trying to go through that that beat down again. So you just don't say anything. Then once you come home, you try to say something, who's going to believe you? People in prison, man, check on your people if they locked up, man. They will beat you down in prison. They'll make it like it's the inmate's fault. They're always going to make it like it's the inmate's fault. Not many situations like this occur. Maybe not with transgenders, and maybe it is. Whatever the case may be with human beings, to where inmates are beat and they don't have people on the outside to check on them. And technology wasn't nearly as advanced as it is now back in the day. They will beat you, man. I've gotten into it with officers. I could have had it done. I definitely could have had it done. I'm dragging my feet one day walking. I'm not even doing it on purpose, but they give you these state boots. They call Bob Barker's. Yeah, Bob Barker, The Price is Right. He has a line of clothing and prison products that they use. And so these boots are called Bob Barker's. I'm walking. I'll never will forget this officer turned around. He couldn't have been no more than 22, 23. He was like, "Pick your feet up when you walk, inmate." I turned around. I just looked at him. I'm like, "What? You heard what I said. Pick your feet up when you walk, inmate." I said, "Man, fuck you, bitch." Yeah, it cost me 45 days in the hole. But guess what? If I could go back and do it again, I'd say the exact same thing, man. I feel the way that I feel because I know what I know. So some of y'all can continue to hit me in my email. Ken's, you're bitter and and you need to just have a respect for authority. I'm not bitter about anything. Unless you've been to prison, been in jail, and see the way that these, what the Italians say, to see the way these moolies, fucking mooly eyes, they's fucking moolies. Unless you all see the way that these moolies act, then you understand. Don't tell me about any discipline. Don't tell me about, I have no respect for authority. No, I don't have respect for a-holes and jerks that abuse their authority simply because they can. Shout out to Warden Briggs. So if anybody's in the Texas Department of Corrections, Leonard Warden Briggs, 2019, life without parole for doing what he did to Terrence. I believe the name was Terrence Coleman. That's the actual name, man. Transgender, man. Y'all check him out, man. Real Ken's TV. Hopefully you like the video. Feel free to comment, definitely share, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and be sure to hit that post notification. So anytime I bring you this action and this heat, guess what? You're amongst the first to receive, man. Real Ken's TV.